Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 119 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Landy Pavlon. I have Justin Hebert along beside me tonight. Great to see you again. Congratulations, Justin. What happened today?
I got my second COVID-19 vaccine shot.
At least
I got both of them done because it's better to have them done because in 2022 I'm heading to the Daytona 500 and you need both to be fully vaccinated. That's what the government said.
And we want you down here, so.
Yeah, because I was supposed to go in 2021, but everything was still shut down. Like there's still restrictions. So 2022. So we moved it to 2022. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. I want to be there. Yeah. We got time to make plans. All right, Let's continue on talking about all the racing we had this past weekend. A lot of stuff happened on the racetrack, on and off the racetrack. Before we get started, we send our condolences to the family of Carlos Reutemann, the Argentine racing driver turned politician. Scored 12 career Grand Prix wins in Formula One. Carlos Reutemann almost won the World Championship in his time, finishing as best as second. He was 79 years old. We're going to continue on and talk about some NASCAR and all three series in the top level racing, in the professional scales. It was fun to watch a 400-mile race in Atlanta for a change, and maybe the 400 miles proved to be good at the track, but we don't know again because they're going under surgery. Well, not surgery, but reconfiguration. But
they actually started getting the walls off, like the safer barriers. They got to remove them to be active because there's pavement under there. You got to pave everything. So that's what they were doing last night, actually. They started removing
just hours after the race, they got going pretty quick.
Yeah, they're still doing that right now. And people say it's not going to be done by March. Like, a Facebook fan said this. Somebody asked, is it going to be ready for March? A fan said no, and Atlanta responded and said, yes, it's going to be done by March. Basically, yeah, some people don't want it, but well, you saw what happened.
We got a new car. We have a lot of,
and you know why?
Listen, at least we get the new pavement. I mean, that was long overdue.
But remember what they gave to Kurt Busch? They gave a part of the old pavement. You know what? One thing we knew about the the new pavement. If you watch the race, you probably saw what happened after stage 2 on the front straightaway. The missing chunk of pavement that came up.
We knew right from there. Like 24 years of pavement. That's long overdue. I mean, there's only one racing surface that I can recall not needing as much maintenance or anything. That's Sebring.
Yeah, but you saw the track coming up, and people tried to say you can race with a big hole. No, you can't.
No, you can't.
And in our road cars, we're not going that fast on the roads in our cars. Those stock cars go faster.
Right. So round 21-36, we had Atlanta 400. The end of an era. The end of the history of a track for a layout that was put together in 1997, all the way until this year. Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch, how fitting, two of Atlanta Motor Speedway's finest drivers in that era of the track, finished 1-2, battling the win amongst themselves. These two drivers from Las Vegas, Nevada, combined with 3 championships and 92 wins now.
Yeah.
And 92 wins. Kurt Busch, he just showed to the world that he can still get it done. He won stage 2, led 144 laps, started 8th. His 33rd career win. Hard to believe he only won 33 times. That's a lot of wins, but
yeah, he could have had more.
And it shows you, Kurt Busch's career. First of all, he's the longest tenured active driver in the Cup Series.
Yeah,
that's number one. And number 2, he's been in so many teams within those years.
But people do forget. But actually, it's still him because of.
That started in 2000.
Yeah, but he didn't get them consecutively. He missed the race in 2012.
It's not consecutive that I'm worried about. I'm talking about the amount of years and experience, like Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah, he has a lot of years, like 2000. Newman ran, I think, one race in 2000, so he's up there too. Harvick, third on that list because Harvick started running in 01. So, yeah, Harvick, Kurt Busch, and Ryan Newman, they have the most experience in the Cup field. And Kurt Busch, he showed his speed. Chip Ganassi Racing,
And we know
Hendrick Engines.
maybe they have less weight on their shoulders now that the word is out to the public about the future of the team, that their 20-year run in NASCAR is coming to an end.
Yeah.
I think Chip Ganassi Racing, the only thing he can do right now is tell his team, run like there's no tomorrow. And that's what Kurt Busch did. But it was fun to watch him race against his brother, Kyle Busch. And, I think if you look at the the Williams sisters, Venus and Serena Williams, Venus sisters, but you can see the amount of sibling rivalries there in tennis or in sports car racing. We have the Taylor brothers.
Yeah.
Sometimes they race on the same team. Now they're in different teams and no longer in the same category anymore. They put a good rivalry. How about Van der Linde, Kelvin and Sheldon Van der Linde, the two brothers from South Africa in GT3. A lot of good sibling rivalries in motorsport. Michael and Ralph Schumacher.
Yep.
Sure, everybody says they were the best sibling rivalry in motorsport, but I'd say not as much as Kurt and Kyle Busch, because at least they had huge loads of success on each side.
Yeah, because Ralph didn't win many races, but people said if Ralph had better cars, like some other better teams like Michael, he could have probably done better. Because you never know about Ralph Schumacher, because Schumacher name, that's like them in F1. Michael's, he's the guy with all the titles and most of the wins. Ralph didn't have that much because, also Ralph didn't drive for the best cars compared to Michael. Michael, what when he started, he drove for Jordan. Then Benetton, the Benetton team. Then he went to Ferrari. And remember his final championship in 2004? And then, the 2005, 2005 controversy at Indy?
Yeah,
one of the crashes was the Toyota of Ralph Schumacher.
Yes. All right. Danny is here. Daniel Ford, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Welcome, guys.
Tell me about your weekend before we continue talking about NASCAR.
Oh man, my weekend was fueled by adrenaline and all things but going full throttle. I went to Pocono Raceway for the Race Motive event. It's a road racing event that happens every other month, I guess you could say. But yeah, man, I saw some of the fastest cars on the East Coast, and overall, I just had a good time. And this was my first time at Pocono Raceway. The front stretch is huge, absolutely mind-blowing to be in that presence of that track.
I think it looked like you had the time of your life.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. I'm definitely going back again in September 4th, since it's the day after my birthday, September 3rd. So yeah, that's definitely the plan right there. Joseph, I was telling you on my live, you got to come out to Pocono. I got to fly you out here to New York so we could go out to Pocono together.
Oh, hell yeah. I want to be there. I want to be there one day. I want to have that experience and just enjoy the track scene. But yeah, let's continue on with the Cup Series race. Kurt Busch had an absolutely great drive against his brother Kyle. He proved a lot of people wrong. He was not in the discussion to win. Maybe not as much as other guys. I'd say Kevin Harvick would have had a better shot at winning than Kurt Busch.
I honestly thought Larson was gonna get the win in Atlanta since he came second to Ryan Blaney. But I guess Kurt Busch out against Chip Ganassi Racing got the job done against his brother Kyle. What a good show put on by these two drivers, man.
Yeah.
This is kind of reminiscent of Kentucky, I want to say, but almost. at least we didn't have like a crazy finish, you know.
Yeah.
Right. It didn't require an overtime restart like the last two races that were held in Kentucky Speedway did.
Yeah.
And you know what? I like the fact that it came down to green flag racing. There's a lot of, caution flag drama or drama on restarts after caution flags that really kind of take the good away from natural racing in NASCAR, especially the last several years. And I like seeing it all happen under the green flag like that. Let's talk Kyle Busch now. He led 91 laps. He won stage 1. Started second. By the way, I forgot to mention this. This is the 4th time that Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, the Busch brothers finished first and second in the race. In fact, in terms of the split, they're even. Kyle has won 2 of those races. Kurt has won 2 of those races. And Kyle Busch has proven to everyone that he still has it in him. There's a long way to go. Kyle Busch looking for that 3rd championship. It's very likely. He may not be the best Gibbs driver so far, but he's just as good by the slimmest of margin. Kurt Busch. Let's talk about Chip Ganassi Racing for a moment here, because we knew that there was a good possibility that the team may have never have won again after the announcement was made that possibly last year Las Vegas would have been their final win. I mean, it was still going to be likely, but they're not as much of a front runner as most of the Chevy teams are. Usually, I'd put Chip Ganassi Racing as the 2nd best or 3rd best Chevrolet team, depending on the performance of Richard Childress Racing. And it seemed like Richard Childress Racing had the better hand last year, especially towards the end. Chip Ganassi Racing has definitely stepped up their game this year, and now, since they announced their departure from the sport, it looks like it's a more worry-free environment for the team. Less baggage. You don't have to hide stuff from the media anymore. The word is out. And we don't know where Kurt's going next year. We don't know if his NASCAR Cup Series career will continue in 2022. There are rumors going around. In fact, these rumors were older than the amount of time since we learned of Trackhouse purchasing Chip Ganassi Racing. Is the fact that people are predicting Kurt Busch, and rumors have been around that Kurt Busch might be in a second car for 2311 Racing in Toyota. That has been out for pretty much. That rumor has been out for about a good month and a half, maybe 2 months by then. Not as long as the Keselowski-Roush rumors, but in that same boat. And then, of course, once the announcement was made for Trackhouse purchasing Chip Ganassi Racing's charters and equipment and everything in between for next year, that took me by surprise. I mean, Colleague Racing was going to have a 2-car team running the full tour next year. They purchased 2 charters. There's an opening right there for Kurt Busch. However, likely we'll see him race part-time in that because they want to have a part-time effort. They already announced AJ Allmendinger is going to run part-time on the road courses and some other events.
They have Justin Haley, the full-time driver.
Justin Haley's going to run for the championship.
Yep, he's going to be that full-time racer.
But that's Colleague Racing. And then a few weeks later, then here we are, Chip Ganassi Racing getting purchased by Team Trackhouse. Daniel Suarez is committed to the 99 car for Trackhouse next year, by the way.
Yep.
So that's 1 car. They said a 2-car team is coming next year. So that 2nd car, and this is where a lot of people are contemplating whether this is going to be Kurt Busch's ride or Ross Chastain's ride, or maybe Kurt Busch will have the end of his career after 2021, or maybe Ross Chastain will go somewhere else. We don't know. It could be a driver outside of the Chip Ganassi branch. Let's not rule them out either.
Kurt Busch, he's been racing the Cup Series since 2000, replacing Chad Little. Chad Little was not doing the best, because at the time in 2000, Kurt drove for the Truck Series program at Roush in the 99 entry. He didn't race Xfinity until the early 2000s.
In fact, he won his very first start. He was the last driver before Ty Gibbs won his very first Xfinity start.
Yeah, in 2006.
Right, but that was already after becoming a Cup Series champion.
So he went from trucks to Cup. He drove the 97, which his first start in the 2001 season, you know what happened?
It was wonky, and he had an accident.
No, he got flipped off by
He got
Dale.
flipped off by Dale Earnhardt. Let's say we know the humor would only last a few hours that day.
Yeah, but you saw what. But Kurt
we know
Busch,
that's the impression Kurt Busch leaves out on drivers right there. He's a fearless. He's a fearless champion. Honestly,
remember when Kurt Busch started? Some people didn't like his attitude. The main rivalry was him versus Jimmy Spencer.
A driver who was in a different era of his career.
Yeah,
and different teams, not as top tier as Kurt Busch is. And ironically, Kurt Busch was going against the guy that he was driving for now. Chip Ganassi Racing. It was the first bout with Jimmy Spencer at Bristol.
Yeah,
it was Kurt's first win.
Yeah, Jimmy drove the number 41 Target car, and but now Kurt Busch, he's been in different types of rides.
He has, if anything, with Kurt Busch, I think a lot of people have forgotten to say this in this whole time. His adaptability to join new teams is probably one of the best I've seen in NASCAR in the modern day. He has no problem jumping into different equipment and succeeding off the bat.
Well,
maybe not off the bat, but it's not. It doesn't take multiple years for him to get up there.
But his 2012 season was
a one-off exception because he got fired unexpectedly after another controversy. In fact, controversies got him thrown out of Roush. We saw a controversy get him thrown out of Penske. And he spent a year at Phoenix Racing.
But not even a full year.
Racing his ass off for 20th.
Yeah, but he didn't actually run.
One race suspensions are not going to count here.
No, not under that. Remember the final few races.
For the team, I was thinking of.
Remember at Charlotte.
Do you know a lot of people seem to forget that Kurt Busch should be thanked more for helping Furniture Row Racing become the championship team it became.
Yeah,
because if it weren't for Kurt Busch, everyone says, "Oh, Regan Smith brought the team up." Yeah, it's in a way, but he did get the upset win at Darlington.
Yeah, but in 2012, Regan Smith drove until. Remember at Charlotte, this is what happened. Kurt's final race with Phoenix, Kurt signed with.
He already signed with them for the next year, and they brought him in early.
So they put Allmendinger in the 51. Regan Smith was in the 88. Remember Dale Jr. got concussion at Talladega?
Right. Yeah.
So Charlotte and Kansas, that was Smith. So starting from Charlotte to the end of the season, and 2013, Kurt drove the 78.
2013 was probably Kurt's best season.
Yeah.
I think his 2013 season was actually better than one or two seasons that he spent at Penske in comparison. Yeah. And I thought a win it might be 0, but he drove so well. And he could very well, I thought if he stayed, and then we learned later that an opportunity came to Stewart Haas Racing, and Tony Stewart, was happy to give him that opportunity to revive his career even more so. And I wanted to see him win for Furniture Row, but little did we know what Furniture Row had in store just 2 seasons after. Mark Truex Jr. got their first win in 2015, and then 2 seasons later they hosted the big trophy. So we can't be going on about this now. We have a long podcast to talk about.
Yeah, so Kurt Busch getting a win, really good for Chip Ganassi, really helping their momentum. Yeah, and they're getting good momentum now.
But here's what I'm trying to say is that he's 44 now, 43 or 44.
He's about to be 43.
He's born. Yeah, he's born 78.
Oh, born 78. I thought he was born in 77. My bad.
No, Newman.
Yeah, Newman. I was thinking about Ryan Newman. Yeah, but Kurt Busch, he just proved to the world that he can still drive a car, and that's a great sign to see. I mean, listen, with this format, you can really choose your way into the Final Four if it works well and everything goes according to plan. Let's continue on the race results, though. Martin Truex Jr. had an up and down day. He started 5th, was put to the rear because of inspection. Brings into 3rd, a great run for Truex Jr. I'm sure if the cautions ran differently, maybe he would have had a say in the race. Alex Bowman, same with him. Started 17th, finished 4th.
Solid. He was the highest Ender car, which I did expect him to do good because 1.5 miles are his strong suit. Anytime you see that 48 on track at 1.5 miles, he's going to be a contender.
Right. 5th place went to Ryan Blaney, the winner of the 500-mile race. Yeah, solid drive for him. Started 15th, 10 spots better at the end. Tyler Reddick started 7th, finished 1 spot better than 6th. Chase Elliott, who was put on pole with the Metro qualifying system, started first with the first 13 laps, but had a struggling eventful day. He did manage to bring it back into the top 10, a 7th place effort for the defending champion. Christopher Bell started 4th, finished 8th, a top 10 car all day. 9th place went to Matt DiBenedetto, who started 12th, and Brad Keselowski rounded out the top 10. Denny Hamlin led 2 laps, started 3rd, finished 13th. Cole Custer, who led 1 lap after starting 23rd, finished 17th. Eric Almirola led 8 laps, started 20th, finished 23rd. Looked for a second that if the rain came down a little bit early, he might have ended up winning. And luckily the rain stayed out. I know the weather wasn't all that perfect, but it cooperated towards the end. Brian Priest led 1 lap in that same exchange. He started 34th and finished inside the top 25. So they'll be back in New Hampshire this weekend. They'll be in New Hampshire this weekend at Loudon.
Yep, and that's the last race before this Olympic break until
before the Olympics. Yeah.
Yep.
This is when after that 2-week break, the stretch gets really fierce, and you can't take your foot off the gas pedal at all. Let's take a look at the point standings now. After 21 races, Denny Hamlin has a 10-point gap over Kyle Larson. Larson, 10 points behind in second. Third place, Kyle Busch, minus 97 in third. William Byron. So Busch is top. Kyle is high in points, Kyle Busch. William Byron is in fourth, minus 103. Chase Elliott is he's steady in fifth, minus 132. Logano had a bad race. He drops down to sixth in points, minus 136. Martin Truex Jr., minus 165 in seventh. Ryan Blaney, eighth, minus 197.
Perfect.
Kevin Harvick, minus 210 in ninth. And Brad Keselowski rounded out the top 10, minus 213. So, the time is running out. I mean, after this Olympic break, or after New Hampshire, we go to this Olympic break. We come back.
To walk and run. Also about the 10th place, you see who's 11th. Alex Bowman's 11th, closing on Brad. Like Alex Bowman, if he continues the consistent game and Brad not doing so good, Bowman
he's going to be locked in.
Bowman could, I know Bowman's 11th, but I want to see him get 10th before the playoffs because, Bowman's never been in the top 10 at the before the playoffs start. He's never been. I think the highest
he's got a big test to pass this weekend in New Hampshire.
He's not that bad there. I've seen he started worse. It's the same thing with Richmond. Remember how bad Alex Bowman?
Yeah, I didn't think Richmond would be. He's in the he's in the fight to win. He wins the race, so don't rule him out.
Yeah, there's Alex Bowman. He has 3 wins this season. You never expected that.
I didn't expect Carlos.
I didn't either.
But yeah, there's some races I didn't expect. But New Hampshire, it's going to be interesting. There's going to be contenders Hamlin, Brad, those people.
This is a driver's track. I think a veteran will have a very good race there.
Most definitely Kevin Harvick.
Later in the podcast as we continue on with our discussion. Let's move on to the Xfinity Series race. And I mentioned in the title, this is the end of an era because it is. Kyle Busch did, make it clear that this very well be his final start in the NASCAR Xfinity Series for the foreseeable future. He said after 100 wins, that would be it. His last race under contract for the year. He picked up 101 at Run America and 102 1 week later at Atlanta Motor Speedway for this 250-mile race. And how fitting is this for Kyle Busch? This is the most Kyle Busch. This is as Kyle Busch as it gets in the Xfinity Series. He wins both stages. 97 laps, started first.
You see my hand right now?
I don't see your hand because I'm on Racing Reference, but I see your hand. Yes, the stop sign.
No, 5 fingers. In his 5 starts, he won all 5 races.
Yeah.
Wow. I forgot
he won all 5 of his races, which is 100% record. That is impressive too. And I know people are the people no, it's not impressive.
Yes, it's impressive.
But even I've seen
it doesn't matter. Listen, Kyle Busch, this is the series that he made home. He's so good in the series, NASCAR had to do something about it because it kept affecting the other drivers. He played by the rules just like everybody else when he started racing, and when he finished. So just put it at that.
Yeah.
I'm happy for Kyle. He gets to enjoy the weekends more, not have to worry about racing as much, and maybe focus on cultivating his son, Brexton, into becoming the best race car driver he can be.
Yeah.
Jeb Burton finished second. He led 1 lap, started 11th, avoided the chaos to get a great point stay. Same for Noah Gragson. Led 5 laps, started 9th. A solid third-place finish. He's climbing up the ladder, finally. It's taken a while for Gragson, but he seems to have everything clicked now. Justin Haley, who started 7th, finished 4th. And how about Ty Dillon, who led 4 laps, started 30th. He was on a unique strategy, stayed out of trouble. Top 5 finish for him. And his teammate, Brett Moffitt, finished 6th. A great day for our motorsports in points.
Yeah.
Justin Allgaier led 4 laps. The defending winner, unfortunately, could not get the job done. He started 8th, finished 7th. Jeremy Clements stayed out of trouble, started 19th, finished 8th. And give a call to Sam Mayer. Career best finish of 9th after starting 22nd. His first ever top 10 in the Xfinity Series. Didn't take long, that's for sure. And Austin Cindric rounded out the top 10 after starting 4th. Your defending champion finished 10th. AJ Allmendinger, who won 2 races ago at Atlanta Motor Speedway in 2020, led 2 laps, started 3rd. Ran into some trouble, but finished 13th. Harrison Burton had problems throughout the race. Though he led 3 laps and started 5th, he had to settle for 24th. And then Daniel Hemrick, 45 laps led, started 2nd. It looked like everything was just about to click to get his first win before he ran into trouble at one of the last few restarts. I think it was the penultimate restart. And he had to settle for 30th. Just a gutting end. But we knew damn well if he had the car straight in line, if it just didn't go south, Daniel Hemrick would have been the one in victory lane. Yeah, and Kyle Weatherman led 3 laps, was somewhat the center of controversy. He started 38th and retired 32nd, being involved in a late race accident. Justin, what happened there?
Kyle Weatherman decided to stay out. Like some people do that, which is acceptable to stay out. Kyle Weatherman somehow spun the tires so bad, but because he had also issues with the car, which is kind of a problem. People avoided him, but I don't know who was the spotter on the 20 and the 68. I guess they weren't paying attention because everybody else passed them.
He was a moving chicane. He left the top 10 going from the second half of the quadruple to turn 1.
But Austin Dillon avoided him, and he was almost wrecked.
He still got screwed from that. He never recovered.
But he finished 11th, still better than, like, Harrison Burton. I don't know, like, Brennan Brown could have avoided it, but I don't. Maybe its spotter was.
It's hard to tell because everyone's focusing on the cars around you. It's hard to focus on someone that's like 10 feet in front or like 30 feet in front of you, 10, 20, 30 feet in front of you that's not going. And you're in a slower car. But here's the thing. It's perfectly legal if you're on the lead lap to stay out of the pits and choose to restart.
Yeah, he was on the lead lap.
Nobody is saying you can't do that. There's nothing against being able to stay on the racetrack, but do it at your own risk and don't get mad if people get mad at you for getting in your way or things go south. I'm not surprised it happened, but I'm also surprised that it took out and led to the restarts that it did. And I'm sure just another decider, I think, to look at drivers like Daniel Hemrick, he definitely got the short end of the stick. Austin Dillon, Harrison Burton, AJ Allmendinger,
Brandon Brown,
another driver who needed to have a good run.
Yeah, he's battling with Jeremy Clements to try to make the playoffs, and Clements is the one having it because Clements keeps running so consistent, which is helping Clements. But like I don't know. It's like they're just trying to like Kyle Weatherman. He's just trying to do what he can in that car because Mike Harmon Racing. I know they have 2 top 10s now in their career, but they're not a car to be running like up front. Like Mike Harmon, their best finish is 7th with Bailey Curry, and Kyle Weatherman got 8th at Kentucky last year. Those 2 finishes were impressive, but you can be slow and restart up front. We've seen it. Remember Casey Mears started on pole once for Germain. Remember when Germain was Ford back in 2012?
Yeah.
Qualifying was rained out at Bristol in the fall, in the summertime. They used practice speeds. Casey Mears was on pole and held on for a few laps, from around 15 laps. He was leading in a slow car, which was impressive. Like Kyle Weatherman's just trying to do points, just trying to get points.
Yeah, and he has executed in the past. It's not uncommon to see that.
Yeah,
We'll see how everything turns out. It was an interesting race. Another fluid race other than the events at the end, I'd say.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the championship standings after this race. And yeah, like I said, this was the end of an era. of the most successful driver in the Xfinity Series history, Kyle Busch, calling it a career after 18 years of successful racing in the second highest professional level of NASCAR. You gotta give him credit. You may not like all of it, but I started watching Kyle Busch when I was just a little kid. He was about 18, 19 years old, 20 years old.
Yeah.
I seen him from the start of this successful run to the end of this successful run. Now he's in his mid to late 30s. It's just great to watch. Austin Cindric, let's go back to the point standings though. Austin Cindric, he has a 74-point lead right now over AJ Allmendinger. AJ is minus 74. His 13th place finish didn't help. Third place, Hemrick could have caught Allmendinger for second had he won the race or had a top 5 effort. He sits minus 112 with 636 points in third. Fourth place, Justin Allgaier, 607 points, minus 141. Harrison Burton rounds out the top 5, minus 176. Sixth place, Jeb Burton, Harrison's cousin, son of Ward Burton, with 559 points. Seventh place, Justin Haley with 537 points. He's climbing back up the ladder, I've noticed. So is Noah Gragson, 519 points. Brandon Jones is ninth with 488 points, and Michael Annett, who was absent, sits at 450 points in the top 10. And he will be absent again this weekend as he's undergoing surgery. Is that correct?
Tomorrow on his leg because he did injure his leg. If people didn't know, that's why he was not running. But Josh Berry's in the one this weekend. But I guess that Michael Annett will get a playoff waiver. You know why? Because the reason that they give you a playoff waiver is by age, like Sam Mayer's situation. They gave
him a playoff waiver.
Yeah, because he couldn't run all the races. No, it's because he was scheduled to run the races in 2020. He signed with Junior Motorsports. That's why.
I know.
That's the reason. But Michael Annett, it's obvious. He got an injury.
Maybe in that situation is a little more understanding. Yeah. But here's the case. Do we need another Kyle Busch 2015 championship to go to Sam Mayer or something like that? If he magically wins.
But that's going to be hard. But
it's one thing to get off based on the premise of points. It's another if NASCAR is going to throw these waivers out like cookies.
Cookies?
To dogs.
What?
The little ones in the snack bag. What do you call them? The 100-calorie packs. I don't know if they sell them in Canada, but
yes, they do. Well, it's just like
pretzels or Chex Mix. You know what I mean? You just hand them out and dog eats them.
But it's I feel like people just get annoyed, Michael now not running, and they put a Cup driver, but Dale Jr. needs someone in the car.
Dale Jr. almost traded his suit, his
Dale Jr.
suit and tie for a racing suit, and BJ McLeod was actually in the line until Austin Dillon was in the area to watch his brother Ty. He was going to watch his grandfather Richard Childress to watch Ty race.
Yeah, but they
wanted a factory support Chevy driver at the best or worst case scenario.
Yeah, and he's I remember I was so confused that he was in the one. I remember I DVR'd the race because I was at work that afternoon.
Well, I knew something was up because he didn't run the truck race.
Yeah, because
he tried to keep that knee injury, to the lowest possible.
But
the leg injury, my bad.
Yeah, so they put Chris Windom in the 02 truck, and then here they put Austin Dillon in the one because I remember on the 6th lap, Austin Dillon was asking, "Who's the spotter and crew chief?"
He didn't even know their names. They were just random voices talking to him. He could tell who it was.
He knows that now he knows the spotter of the one's Jason Jarrett, who's the spotter for Ryan Newman in the Cup Series.
Sure, he might be working with Josh Berry in the pits too, just to give him a little instruction on what to expect. Because in Austin's situation, it was impromptu.
Yeah.
Because the case was they wanted Annett to start the race, or Annett he tried to start the race, but he just wasn't able to do it. Because if Annett started the race, the points would have gone to him, the awards, everything.
Yeah, basically, if Annett would have started the car, and if
the records would have gone to him,
and if somehow Austin Dillon would have won, Michael Annett would have got credit. It's like the same thing with Almirola was credited with the win when Hamlin won.
Eric Almirola's first career NASCAR Xfinity Series win was driven by Denny Hamlin.
Yeah,
as a relief driver role.
but it was not actually because Eric was sick. I guess Rockwell Automation
They were
wanted
based in Wisconsin when the
they
race was held
wanted
in Milwaukee.
they wanted Hamlin, and Joe Gibbs didn't want to keep on rolling, but they said no. So they
You know
pulled
what?
out.
That actually kind of saved Hamlin's career too, because Denny Hamlin was almost about to replace Stephen Wallace, who was driving a factory-supported Dodge. Do you remember Joe Gibbs Racing ran Chevrolets at the time with factory support? And I think Ganassi and Penske used like the same Dodge engine at the time. And if that happened and Hamlin would have driven that car, might have been a breach of contract, and who knows where Hamlin would have went in his career if that happened. So that could have been a career saver, believe it or not, for Denny especially. But let's not go there. This is not the Below the NASCAR podcast. This is a Below the Line podcast. We have a lot of more sports to talk about. We got to go to the truck race here. Like the Xfinity race, I'd say a good race going bad towards the end. Maybe for the truck race, I think our expectations were crashed, much like most of the trucks in the race. Austin Hill takes the win at Knoxville, the inaugural Knoxville 150. The Corn Belt 150 in Knoxville, Iowa. No, not Knoxville, Tennessee.
No.
Round 14 to 22. So here are 2 races before the playoffs going into this race.
Yeah, and people are wondering about Austin Hill. There's some controversy brewing after the race. Other than the crashes, there's controversy about that one restart. That
Who was in front? Who should have been in front?
Because on the camera views, it looked like the 18 was ahead by a few inches.
Scoring, it said the 16, and they put the 16 in front.
Yeah, it's like it was all messed up, and oh my gosh, the race was so the laps,
the race had a good flow to it until one of those late cautions came out, and then as they say, cautions breed cautions. Well, how do you think NASCAR racing and all the overtimes restarts bring crashes, which bring entertainment and views from our eyes. Even in Knoxville, when you put dirt racing on Spotlight, and I hate it for dirt racing enthusiasts because they always seem to get the short end of the stick whenever it's their chance to be on national TV, because it's very rare for them to get national live TV for dirt track racing. And when they do, it always seems to be some sort of kerfuffle, like Bristol Dirt earlier this year. If you remember that whole weekend, that was a mess. But the thing I just want to say is about this whole race. Again, I'm kind of glad. A lot of people say Knoxville was a bad track. It's not a bad track. It has to be adjusted. We can't have, a part of the race, the racing line on one side, and then on the other side, this huge incline towards the pits where you can't make a racing line out of it. Not like the racing line, but the apron, This is an Eldora Speedway, and a lot of people are trying to make an Eldora Speedway setup out of this. That's not going to happen in Knoxville. And anything, Knoxville's a more flatter track. I think there's a singular groove around there compared to Eldora Speedway.
Yeah, it's the bottom. It's the main line. But remember, Eldora has had issues. Remember the last time they went to Eldora? The inside would not work. The outside was the preferred lane, even on older tires, like Stewart Friesen, 60-lap older tires. On the outside, pulled away. Eldora last time in 2019. Remember the 2019 Eldora Dirt Derby?
It was an interesting race, but it had a.
You couldn't use the bottom.
No, you couldn't.
If you were on the outside, you were set. Yeah, you could barely pass.
But at least you could have a 2-group track. Knoxville seemed like the outside you had to be perfect or you had no chance.
Because Carson Osvar lost the lead a few times from being on that outside in the 42. So we got to continue with these results.
Yes, Austin Hill led only 11 laps. He started 13th, his 7th career win, first of the season. And I knew that first win of the year was about to come one way or another. And it's finally here. So there we go on that. And Austin Hill, Shigetori, everybody in the Toyota team, they receive support from Toyota. Long-time support, actually. Great win for everybody because they worked hard to be in this position, and a win is a win. And stay out of trouble, and that's really what it came down to. If you look at the top 10, you can tell these guys were not in it. Ironically, a lot of the regulars in the Truck Series actually did better than some of the dirt specialists. Like the drivers you didn't expect to be in front at the end of this race were the ones in front.
Yep.
Austin Hill, great example on that.
Oh.
Second place, Chandler Smith started 10th. He had the truck to win. It looked like it was meant to be. His first career was in there, and then the cautions came out just as bad as of a timing that could have happened. And a career best finisher, second for the second time.
71 laps led. He led the most.
Yes, he did. Third place, Grant Enfinger started 26th. Had an eventful day. Hey, did his best to keep the truck clean. There were no clean trucks after that, but
not many.
In terms of damage, physical wear, not the looks of it. I mean, even then, you still got bent fenders. Fourth place, Todd Gilliland, 61 laps led. I was very surprised to see him run up front like this. He did a great job in that Ford, highest Ford of the field. Started third. Fifth place, give a call to Derek Krause. He's making the most out of what's possible. Despite leading only 10 laps, he won both stages. And he scored his second career pole position.
But he is kind of in a bit of controversy if people may know.
Didn't someone run into him after the race?
A few drivers did, because he roughed up a few drivers, and those few drivers kept running into him on the after the race. Yeah. So yeah, I know Derek Krause has not made many friends at Knoxville.
No, but he's got to put out his best road course performance yet at Watkins Glen, because like I said, there was only one more race after Knoxville.
Yeah,
it's Watkins Glen, and Watkins Glen is a track that has not been in the series since 2000, and pretty much nobody, unless the entry list says something otherwise, for the part-time driver has ever run a truck series race at the Glen before. So everybody's on the same playing field, just like Knoxville in a way. Fifth place, I mentioned Derek Krause. Sixth place went to Matt Crafton. He led a lap, started at ninth, finished a solid sixth. Seventh place, Ben Rhodes. So it's been a good points day for all the Thor Sports drivers, except for one, surprisingly. Ben Rhodes started 18th. I didn't expect to see him in the top 10. He had a struggling truck, but Rhodes managed to bring it home in seventh. And how about the local favorite, Brian Brown, who was signed by Kyle Busch to run this race, finishing eighth in his debut, started 15th. A great dirt track driver and having an eventful day. Give a call to Tate Fogelman, ninth place, career best finish of ninth, his first ever top 10 after over 2 years of racing in the truck series. Started 28th in the back half of the field. Tate Fogelman brings it into the top 10, driving for Young's Motorsports. Well deserved. Give a call for him. He kept his truck as clean as possible.
Yep.
And Danny Bone, same thing for him. Not a career best finish for Bone, but 23rd starting spot, started just outside, mid-pack, stayed out of trouble to the best of his ability, brought home 10. Now we're going to go outside the top 10, look at some drivers here. And since we had a lot of unusual names that ran just the dirt races only, I'll highlight them as well, of course, because I like to highlight drivers that make their career best finishes and their first start since hiatus years and their debuts. I like to highlight all of them in between. 16th place went to Carson Hosfar. He led 17 laps, had a strong truck, but ran into trouble. Managed to bring it home to 16th, completed all the laps. Carson Hosfar did what he could. How about Devin Rouse, who started second to last? In his debut race, driving for Rayon Brothers Racing in the Camping World car, he finished 18th place. So great job for Devin Rouse making his NASCAR Truck Series debut and, being a part of this event. 20th place, Johnny Sauter.
Oh.
Another good race gone bad. This has been the tone of Johnny Sauter's 2021 season. He led 8 laps, started 6th. He ran well, but it just went down.
But don't know what's interesting? After he lost the lead, after he led those 8 laps, there was contact with Chase Briscoe, which spun him, and that's basically what put him in the back over there.
He never recovered.
No.
Chase Briscoe looked like he could be the one that would get Roper Racing their first win after the near win for Corey Roper at the Daytona 250 earlier this year. And Chase surprisingly ran into trouble. It seemed like all the favorites that had the dirt track, knowledge in the background had issues. Let's continue on here. 22nd place, Cody Erickson, started 24th, a career best finish. Good job for him. Andrew Gordon, who started 29th, picked up a career best finish of 24th in a second start. Jessica Friesen, the wife of Stuart Friesen, made her NASCAR Truck Series debut in the Halmar Racing Toyota, finishing 26th. It was not a good race for neither her or Stuart Friesen. Of course, Stuart Friesen fighting to get into the playoffs. He's in the upper end right now, but it's not all that perfect still. He has to survive Watkins Glen. Yes, he races a lot in that area in the country, the southeast or northeast United States and southeast of Canada, but not Watkins Glen, not the road courses, the dirt tracks, of course. Parker Price Miller made his debut. He started 7th driving for Jordan Anderson. Had a great truck in the beginning, but ran into trouble and finished 29th.
But still, good finish. Not good finish, but good start. 7th.
For sure. Yeah, run a good heat race. Put yourself in a good position in the beginning of the race. How about dirt track sensation Donnie Schatz, who made his long-awaited NASCAR debut? We knew that it was a matter of time until he'd make the pedal dip into the the NASCAR dirt racing scheme. He drove for David Gilliland Racing, and he stayed in the lead lap all night long, but ran into a crash in the end and retired, finishing 42nd. And Morgan Alexander, who made his debut, finished 40th last place after starting 35th. So another dirt track name right there. But yeah, it seemed like in this race, a lot of the names that we expected to run up front had problems in the race and never seemed to recover. Names like Stuart Friesen, Jessica Friesen, Haley Deegan, Donnie Schatz, Chase Briscoe, Sheldon Creed, Brett Moffitt.
Yeah.
What about another name? Chris Wyndham, Kyle Strickler. Some of these guys who were good in the heats just could not seem to translate that into the big race.
Yeah.
When it counted the most. And that's one thing I've learned about the Truck Series this year, especially with Martin Truex Jr. when he won the dirt race at Bristol. Just because you're good at a certain style of racing doesn't mean that you are a lock to win in that event. Yeah. We've learned this with road courses plenty of times, and we're starting to learn that now as the number of dirt races across the top 3 NASCAR series is increasing by the years. We're going to new venues, we're going to new places, and here we are at Knoxville, and I think this is just another example of what it requires you to become a successful driver in NASCAR. It doesn't require just being good in these ovals anymore. You have to be good all around. Well, let's take a look at the playoff standings. 1 race to go, and at least these guys have time till then.
Yeah.
John Hunter Nemechek locked in with 5 wins. He clinched the regular season trophy as well. He'll see first in the playoffs in 2 races' time when that happens. Ben Rhodes, 2nd right now with 2 wins. With 1 win, 3rd seed Todd Gilliland, 4th seed Austin Hill, and 5th seed Sheldon Creed, the defending champion of the series. 6th seed Zane Smith, if I'm not mistaken, he's locked in.
Yeah.
Matt Crafton, he's locked in as well.
Yeah.
And Hosvar, he's not locked in. Is that correct?
Yeah, Hosvar, Chandler Smith, and Stuart Friesen.
No, Friesen has more points than Chandler Smith in terms of the relation to the cut line because of Grant Enfinger, who does not meet classification eligibility. So that's why there's the disparity there. So let's look outside the top 10. Derek Kraus, of course, starting with Derek Kraus. He's probably been the one driver that's climbed up more than anybody else that hasn't made it into the top 10 yet this whole season. Minus 40. Minus 44, Tyler Ingram. A little surprised to see him down there.
Yeah.
Johnny Sauter, very surprised to see him minus 51. I thought he would finally, get a hold of the new ways of racing in this truck series, but it's just been all bad luck rather than just despair. Austin Wingstuff, very surprised to see him at 14th, minus 71. Pretty much these guys on back are in a must-win situation. Ryan Truex, minus 99. He's going to a track that he's raced in different kinds of cars before. Haley Deegan, minus 116. Think I've ever seen her race there. Tanner Gray, minus 146. I know he's racing the East Series, so take it as you will. Chase Purdy is going to have a miracle, minus 174, as well as Tate Fogelman at minus 189. And it looks like, approval pending for Enfinger is not going which he's not really fighting for that either. So I'm not convinced that he's going to be allowed in anyways.
Like Garen Infinger, he says like not racing for a championship is less stress.
That's pretty much gives the notion that he's cool with NASCAR and he's not forcing them to put him in.
It
gives no one else my spot is what he's saying. But put me in the Truck Series for eligibility points and all that.
Yeah,
I want the Triple Truck Challenge, but I don't want the playoffs.
Yeah, but he's still doing good. Like he wants to focus on wins, not championships. He said.
Right, and he wants the ability to step out if he wants to.
Yeah, that's why they have Christian Eckes.
He just became a father.
Yeah, and also like he's not running all the races. Some races are run by Christian Eckes in that 98.
And he hops into Cody Rohrbach's team as well. He's a serviceable driver, to say the least.
Yeah.
All right, so the next race, of course, we're going to have the Watkins-Glen 176. Round 15 to 22 is going to be the regular season finale. Yep. And mind you, this race will be a challenge amongst itself. I'm sure a lot of people, knowing the way of the no qualifying, the no practice race weekends have been going since COVID life began, when NASCAR returned, has been controversial amongst itself, but maybe not as much as this next race, because we have never seen these trucks turn a lap around this track in a race situation since 2000. And we'll see what NASCAR says about that and what they do and how the drivers will react to all the obstacles, regardless, that's heading their way as we go to Watkins-Glen in the 7th of August to conclude what has been an eventful regular season for the Truck Series.
Yep.
All right, ready to talk some Formula E?
Yep.
All right. Where Danny's still around?
I don't know.
Danny, you there, ready?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we're talking Formula E, New York City Prix, in the streets of Brooklyn, New York. The supposed home of the Islanders, as they try to make it. Just kidding. Keep them in Long Island. But rounds 10 and 11 of this 15-race tour, the ABBFA Formula E World Championship. A major shakeup in points, Justin. Eduardo Mortara was the championship leader going into this race weekend. Now he's trailing.
He's dropped in points. Yeah, he really dropped in points. He got 0 points in both races, which basically hurt him not getting points in both races.
Threw him down to 4th.
If you're the world champion, you should be very concerned at this point.
But it's been close. Like it's been a close championship in Formula E.
Very, as it's always been since the dawn of the series. Many years ago.
Yeah, it's not
let's talk about race 1 here. The point scoring positions: Max Günther taking the win. Max Günther for BMW i20 Motorsport getting the win, and we got to hear the Star Spangled Banner in the podium, which is cool.
Yes.
In race 1. Then in second place, it was Diaz Techeetah's Jean-Eric Vergne. I think Jean-Eric Vergne might be too little too late, but he's definitely climbing up the ladder again in points. Third place, Lucas deGrassi in the Audi. Nick Cassidy looked like he had a shot at winning that first race, though. He started on pole position and finished 4th in the Virgin Audi, as well as his teammate Robin Freins in 5th. Robin Freins receiving 10 points for his efforts. He had an eventful day too. Sebastian Buemi, who's just having an atrocious season for a former champion, finished 6th. He picked up some points from the group stage bonus. 1 bonus point for him. Oliver Rowland, 7th place. Andre Lauderer in the highest Porsche in 8th. 9th place went to Sam Bird, who needed to do everything humanly possible to stay in the championship hunt. He started 20th.
Yep.
And also picked up the fastest lap. That shows you how aggressively passionate he was out on the track. He made sure to make the most out of every position possible, humanly possible, in that skinny track in 38 laps. He went from 20th to 10th and picked up the extra point for the fastest lap. to ninth, I mean. And 10th was Rene Rast, the last point scorer in the Audi. So then again, that's why it's so important to get a good qualifying run, a good group stage effort. You do not want to have a bad race. In Formula E, it bites you like a snake. Race 2 in this doubleheader went to Sam Bird. And I knew that this was going to be a great points day for Sam Bird because he got the pole position points. He got the group stage points and the 25 points alone for winning. Now, had he got the fastest lap, he would have had an extra point as well, which went to the driver 2 positions below him. Nick Cassidy, second place effort. Good job by the Kiwi. Third place went to Antonio Fix DaCosta, the defending champion, who is climbed up to second out as the result for his efforts, picking up 15 and another point, 16 points in total for the DS Cheetah veteran. Porsche's 4th and 5th, Pascal Verline. Andre Lauderer. 6th place went to the Mahindra's Alexander Sims, who's been having an up-and-down year, as well as Norman Nato.
Right.
The Venturi car.
Norman Nato is also a rookie.
Right. Robin Freins made it into the points, did Alex Lynn and Maxim Gunter, who picked up the one sole point, which is not going to be enough for him in the championship, I don't think. After 11 races, the World Championship standings for the drivers, Sam Bird he's back in the championship lead. It looked like I thought it was going to be over, especially after the whole race weekend in Valencia. And I thought Puebla was all she wrote. But guess what? Bonus points matter in Formula E. And that's why Sam Bird is back into the points. 81 points to Sam Bird right now after 11 races. Antonio Felix DaCosta, he's been having an up and down stretch just like Sam Bird is having, but not as painful. Even though he's in second, he scored more points finishes than Sam Bird, but Sam Bird, he's pretty much 7th or 1st or 9th or 2nd. That's all he's gotten in the points position. So 76 points tied for 2nd and 3rd. Robin Freins is in that same boat. Freins has only one podium, however, but he does pick up those bonus points a lot. That's why he's sitting there at 3rd. Eduardo Mortara drops heavily in the championship, going down to 4th, 72 points. And Nick Cassidy is in 5th with 70 points. And Cassidy has been doing great in the last 3 races. No worse finish than 4. Now in the team's championship, you thought the driver's championship was fierce. Think again. This is incredible. The top 3 are 5 points apart. And Virgin Racing take the World Teams Championship lead with 146 points. Now, that's incredible. I think just the way they did it shows you how strong they are. And that's why they're so good. Second place, 2 points behind DS Cheetah. They just hopped up the ladder now. They're up the scale here, making the number go up. Third place, Jaguar Racing, 141 points. Thanks Sam Bird for the efforts here because he's doing a great job. Audi Sport ABT Schaffer Formula E team, 4th place, 115 points, and the Mercedes EQ Formula E team sits in 5th with 113 points. So it's a fierce battle, especially amongst the top 3 in the team's championship. And unless the schedule has expanded, which Formula E has been very tight-lipped about, which means you don't really want to rule it out just yet. But if it ends in 15 races, which is, as of the time of this podcast, that's what it says, we have 4 races left at 2 different tracks, starting with the London E-Prix, which is scheduled for the 24th, 25th of July.
Yeah,
and then the 14th and 15th of August, we had the Berlin E-Prix.
Yeah, that race at London is actually a week after the British Grand Prix, which is this weekend. Then it's a London E-Prix. So they get a week off for Formula E, which is good for some of the drivers like Norman Nato and Sebastian Buemi, who are running the World Endurance Championship race at Monza. That's good for those two, that they got a week off for Formula E to focus on that sports car race in Monza this week.
Yeah, so London E-Prix is in 2 weeks' time. And then pretty much just about a month from now. At the time of this podcast is the scheduled final weekend.
At Berlin.
Berlin, of course, they hosted like pretty much the second half of last season just to finish the season.
Yeah, they raced.
Require races to consider it as the championship.
I remember that. Just finishing the season there was interesting.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, nice to see London back. I think England's open again. That's what it looks like. So that's great. All right, let's talk about the racing down under in Australia. I think this is as self-explanatory as it's going to get because since Scott McLaughlin left, another Kiwi's been taking over the series, and another team's been taking over the series. Yeah, there you see it. Shane Van Gisbergen. Townsville 500, week 6 of 12. That's pretty much the end of the first half of the season. Rounds 15 and 16 of the 31 race tour. So we go from 28 back to 31 again because we do have 3 races added. A Townsville Super Sprint race weekend, which is actually coming up this weekend, has been put in place due to the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So there we are, 31 races now, and we're officially past the first half of the season. Shane Van Gisbergen led 29 laps in race 1 of the Townsville 500. He scored his 35th career pole, his 49th career win, and his 129th career podium. Second place went to Jamie Whincup. Now, Jamie Whincup, he had the better car. In fact, he had the best car in both races, but fell short to Shane Van Gisbergen. Same strategy and everything. Just seems like his years are catching up to him. Yeah, but Whincup led 58 laps. He started second and picked up his 259th career podium. Shows you how incredible of a driver Jamie Whincup is. Third place went to Anton De Pasquale. By the way, that's your top 3 for race 2 as well, just to get that out of the way. 10th career podium for De Pasquale. Highest Ford in the field in that race. Started 4th in the event. 4th place went to Nick Percat. The Brad Jones Racing driver started 5th and stayed in the hunt. Did what he could, but had too many faster cars than him. 5th place, David Reynolds started in 9th. Tim Slade in the Tim Blanchard Racing Ford started 8th, finished 6th. James Courtney, 7th. Cam Waters, 8th. Will Davison, 9th. And Mark Winterbottom running out the top 10. That's race 1. Now let's talk about race 2. It looked like Whincup had the better race this time around. Maybe he has what it takes to win because he picked up his 85th career pole going into the race. For race 2, he led 65 laps. But all of a sudden, here comes Shane. And Shane Van Gisbergen, a walk-off win. Just like, as they say in baseball, a walk-off win. Late 22 laps, started second, picked up his 50th career win. That's a major milestone right there. 50th career win. That's 130th career podium. I think I'll find some stats of Australian touring car racing.
Yeah.
But yeah, records. I want to see like number of wins. Maybe you can find like a list of drivers who've gotten 50 plus wins in touring car / supercars history. But yeah, just let me know if you find it, and then you can. I think it's Whincup that has it.
Wait, you're talking about driver race wins?
Yeah.
It's Whincup with 123.
How many drivers between Whincup and Van Gisbergen?
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 drivers.
So who are the other 3 drivers that exceeded 50 wins?
Gart Tander, Scott McLaughlin, Mark Scaife, and Craig Lowndes. Yeah, Gart Tander got 56. McLaughlin also got 56. Mark Scaife got 90, and Craig Lowndes got 110.
So is it right there? That's how incredible these guys are.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Mark Winterbottom. Like, of active drivers, Whincup has the most wins. Shane Van Gisbergen's second on that list. Like, in active wins, the third place is Mark Winterbottom with 38 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to Win Cup. It wasn't enough. He got his 268th career podium, however, and it was another milestone for AAA. They were just class of the field. It's like Hendrick Motorsports and NASCAR. They are the Hendrick Motorsports of supercars by far. Hey, they weren't not Chevys, but they will next year. But they're running Holdens for one more year.
Yeah.
Third place went to Antonio Pasquale again, his 11th career podium. He started 5th. Will Davison, 3rd and 4th, not bad for DJR. Davison started 8th. Will Brown running out the top 5. He started 7th. Cam Waters started and finished 6th. Todd Hazelwood finished 7th. Tim Slade, 8th. 9th place, Chaz Mostert. 10th place, Jack LeBron. Now, David Reynolds will have one lap during the pit cycles. He started 10th and finished 22nd. The Shane Van Gisbergen Series. Let's just call it that. The AAA Challenge.
Well, last year was called the Scott McLaughlin Series, basically.
Right. Well, let's take a look at the Drivers' Championship. Shane Van Gisbergen has a monstrous championship lead, 1,661 points. Jamie Whincup is second with 1,416 points. Third place, Will Davison, the veteran, with 1,291 points. Chaz Mostert is fourth. He has 1,278 points. And fifth place, Cameron Waters, 1,256 points. Now, in the team's championship, monstrous times 2 for the team's championship. Triple Eight Race Engineering undoubtedly lead the team's championship with 3,077 points, because I just can't talk digits right now. I'm too tired for that. Second place, Dick Johnson Racing, 2,311 Racing. Yes, or Racing, but points. I'm thinking 2,311 Racing for some reason.
What?
I said 2,311 points, and that's 2,311 Racing. Yeah. Tickford Racing is third with 2,168 points. Fourth place with 2,179 points. Waukesha and Dirty United. And fifth place with 1,766 points, because that number's friendly for me to read. Europe is Motorsport. I'm so glad I got through all my math classes, because seriously,
I put a link in I put the WC entry list link and just saying before we get into that, it says Job Van Utrecht, but he's actually not in the car. He actually tested positive for COVID-19. He was supposed to drive the 92 in ELMS, but he's sidelined. But it's 10 days in Italy. That's after.
They make you wait 10 days?
Yep. So he can't race. So Nick DeVries is going to be in the 29.
He's a good driver.
Yep, he's replacing Job Van Utrecht for this weekend.
It's Racing Team Netherlands.
Yep.
All right, so next race for the supercars, as I mentioned earlier, we have the new Townsville Super Sprint. That will be the first race of the second half of the season, week 7 to 12, rounds 17 through 19, 17, 18, 19, 31 races total, 12 weeks total. Should be fun to watch. All right, time to talk some sports car racing. The European Le Mans Series. We're going to start with the European Le Mans Series, and we'll discuss the NLS VLN Series at the Nürburgring. They had a doubleheader there, but we're going to start with the ELMS race. Remember, Monza is home to some sports car action for 2 weeks in a row. And you know what? Rock and Roll McDonald's, Penny Racing, and the McDonald's Orca 07 win. I had to say it because McDonald's doesn't have any luck in NASCAR when they sponsor cars. They just don't do well. But once again,
they were part of the number 1 team that won the 2010 Daytona 500. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on our Camel Systems right now. I'll pull up the race results. The classification at the end. But I think this was an interesting race. I had Team WRT winning. Again, they did finish 4th, but Julian Canal, Will Stevens, James Allen, I didn't expect them to win. I did not think they would have the right combination necessary to win, or at least maybe get a podium or something like that.
But they showed their speed. It's really helped them.
Showed tons of speed. I mean, they were incredibly fast And by the way, this was the start of the second half of the season. This is the last race in the pre-Le Mans portion of the season, too. They go off for a while. But a lot of these teams and drivers are doing the double. They'll be racing the World Endurance Championship 6 hours this upcoming weekend. So we'll see how that affects the driving styles. A lot of knowledge of the track going into this race definitely helps you. So, yeah, in the LMP2 class and overall, 65 Pawnee Racing taking the win. Good job for Olivier Pawnee. Finally gets a win in a major sports car event. He's been longing for that for quite some time. Second place went to the number 22 United Autosports Orca 07, the car that was dominant last year, driven by Tom Gamble, Jonathan Aberdeen, and Phil Hansen. Third place went to the number 82 Joda Sport Orca 07 with Jasmine Jaffar and Sean Galale.
Yeah.
Fourth place, number 41 Team WRT Orca 07. I think that's one of my favorite teams actually running this year. With Louis Deltraz, Robert Kubica, and Yefe. A team that, like I said, they're coming from GT3s and going to prototypes, and they're succeeding off the bat. That's some good stuff. Fifth place was the number 30 Duquesne team. Orca 07, Renee Binder, Tristan Gomandi, and Mimo Rojas. The Pro-Am trophy went to the number 25 G-Drive Racing Auroras 01, driven by John Felb, Roberto Marhi, and Rui Andrade. So congrats to them on the award. Now let's move on to the next class, the LMP3 class. And that went as interesting as it got. You know, obviously the Legers do better, you know, in LMP3s because it's more Leger JSP320s. But actually, it went to Duquesne. The DKR Engineering Luxembourg team with Mathieu de Barbeau and Lawrence Haar taking the win in the number 4 DKR Engineering Duquesne M30DO8 taking the win. That car finished 19th overall. Shows you how many competitive LMP2s showed up for this one.
Yeah.
Second place went to the number 2 United Autosports Ligier JSP320 with Ray Boyd, Robert Weldon, and Edouard Kirchhoff. So I guess 2 drivers were better than 3 this time around. We've seen that before in some endurance races. Third place went to number 13 Inter-Europol competition, the famous Polish team showing up for this one with Matteo Passini, Hugo DeWild, and Martin Heap taking the class podium on the final step. Fourth place went to the number 19 Cool Racing. Ligier with Matt Bell, Nicholas Cruton, and Nicholas Maulini. They have success earlier this year in the Swiss team. And fifth place, rounding out the class in the top 5, was the number 20 Team Virage. This is a team based in Poland with Charles Cruz, Garrett Grist, and Rob Hodes, all North American drivers behind the wheel of that car. So yeah, there's some good stuff, I'd say. A lot of these drivers know how to run a clean race. Monza's an easy track to remember.
Yeah.
I think that's what helps the knowledge. I think a lot of people say, "Oh, Monza, it's quick to retain memory of the track." LMGT class. Speaking of Monza, who better than Ferraris to take the entire top 5 in class? Winning this time around was number 55 Spirit of Race Ferrari 488 GT Evo. That's all the top 5. Yes, Duncan Cameron, Matt Griffin, and David Perrell. Great win off them in their part. They did an amazing job. Second place, number 80 Iron Lynx Ferrari 488 GT Evo. Reno Mastronardi, Matteo Crisoni, and Miguel Molina. Third place went to the 88 car AF Corsa Ferrari, Emmanuel Collard, Francois Parado, and the number 88 of Alessio Rivera. Fourth place, number 66, JMW Motorsport Ferrari of Jody Fannin, Andrea Fontana, and Rodrigo Salas. Fifth place in class went to the Iron Lynx Ferrari number 60 of Paolo Roberti, Claudio Schiavone, and Giorgio Cernangiotto. So yeah, if you're a fan of GT racing and you're a Ferrari fan and you're an Italy fan, yesterday was your day. Especially because they won Euro. Remember that? They took that penalty kicks over England yesterday. So yeah, there's still a lot of tifosi and all that stuff. But we'll see what happens. We have their next race for the ELMS will be the 4 hours of Spa-Francorchamps. That's going to be round 5 of 6 on the 19th of September. These guys, all they have to worry about is just other racing series if they're racing elsewhere, which most of these guys do anyways, just like sports car racing in general. The 24 hours of Le Mans, which will be on the late portion of August. And then when you got to have the tunnel vision for ELMS, you have 2 races just about months apart from each other. 4 hours of Spa on the 19th of September, and to close the season, the 4 hours of Portimao, the 24th of October, which would be the 6th and final race of the season.
Yeah.
So that tells the tale for European Le Mans series. Now I have to open up timing 71 for the NLS series, because we had a double header.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting race weekend, to say the least. But let's talk about the Nürburgring 4-hour twin races, Saturday and Sunday. And let's just call it the BMW ring, shall we? Because that's how good they are. And the junior team, the BMW junior team, let's take them seriously. These guys are under BMW contracts, and they're beating veterans that are running every week in GT3s of the Nürburgring.
Yep.
So let's start off with the first race, and I have to pull up timing 71. I have to scroll all the way down. Find NLS. Was it on the 10th? No, that's 2 hours long. This was 4:30. Okay, this might be it. So yeah, the number 44 car won overall. I'm just going to go through the overall top 5 because obviously there were hundreds of cars in the race. Neil Verhagen, an American GT racing phenom. Max Hesse, another prospect from Germany. And Daniel Harper, a young British driver who has a lot of potential racing in GT3 racing and in endurance altogether. Haven't seen him in a prototype yet. They won race 1, completing a total of 28 laps, where only 6 cars finished on the lead lap overall. The BMW Junior Team number 44, Team RMG, BMW M6 GT3, taking the win. The gap, 1 minute 16 seconds between first and second.
Wow.
Yeah, between Verhagen and Adam Christodoulou in the Mercedes. Second place was the HRT Haupt Racing Team Mercedes, Bill Steen, number 6, finishing second, the Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo. Third place went to the number 5 Phoenix Racing Audi R8 LMS GT3 Evo. Fourth place went to the number 3. Went to the number 3 Falcon Tire Motorsports Porsche 911 GT3R. And fifth place went to the number 34 Walking Horse Motorsport BMW M6 GT3. And for them, it only got better in race 2. In race 2, guess what happened? They won. And race 2 was an interesting bout because at least we got to see some fighting for the win towards the end. And I'll pull those stats up as well. But yeah, there was a lot more competition in race 2, which was won by Christian Krognes, David Pittard, and Ben Tuck. Your race winners. The number 34 Walking Horse Motorsport BMW M6 GT3. The gap was 10 seconds. Well, it was as close as 2 seconds at the start of the final lap. Phoenix Racing Audi had less fresh tires. The number 5 Phoenix Racing Audi R8 LMS GT3 Evo. Third place went to the Falcon Tire Motorsports Porsche 911 GT3R, number 3. Fourth place went to the number 7 Conrad Motorsport Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo. And fifth place went to the number 24 Lion Speed by Car Collection Motorsport Audi R8 LMS GT3 Evo. By the way, that car in fifth place overall won their class in SP9 Pro-Am. not going through all the classes because it's just a lot of stuff there. But
Yeah.
these guys have a long break. In fact, they're in the Le Mans break already, just like ELMS. They're letting the drivers go to Le Mans and not have to worry about any conflicts. Something that the NLS has always done. So their next race will be on the 1st of September, round 7 of 9. It'll be the 6 hours on the Nürburgring. The only race that exceeds 4 hours, the 6 hours of the Nürburgring. And I think we have something very similar in the GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup. However, they only run the GP circuit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, remember the NLS to run the full Nürburgring Nordschleife and GP circuit, everything.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some other races that we had over the race weekend before we continue on our race preview discussion. The penultimate race in the first half of the Arc of Menard Series campaign was an interesting one, and it was a statement-making one at Elko Speedway.
Yep.
And it was the Elko 250 won by Corey Heim. By the way, fun fact, Corey Heim and Ty Gibbs and Toyota are the only winners of 2020, which of course include Venery Motorsports and Joe Gibbs.
2020?
2021. I forgot there's a 1 at the end, all right?
Yeah, but Brett Holmes...
20201.
Yeah, but Brett Holmes won in a Chevy in 2020.
Right, he won the whole thing. But
yeah, it's been the only Toyotas.
So, yeah, in the end, the Menards 250 at Elko Speedway in
Minnesota,
Newmarket, Minnesota.
Yep.
Corey Heim led just 14 laps, so that's 250-lap race. But how did he do it? He muscled his way through Ty Gibbs at the final restart and could care less. He knows this championship lead is going the other way, and he had to do everything in his power to put a stop to it, and thus he did. Second place went to Jesse Love, and third place went to Gracie Trotter. So a 1-2-3 sweep for Venerita Motorsports. Well done for them. Fourth place went to Ty Gibbs, though he led 236 laps. Had the restart gone a little bit more like his way, it would have been another win and probably the points lead going to Ty Gibbs. But that was not meant to be. He finished fourth. Taylor Gray, welcome back after a long recovery from an injury sustained in a car accident spring of this year. Taylor Gray made his first start in the Arc of Menard Series since then. He rounds that out with a top 5 finish, so well done for him. 6th place, Nick Sanchez. 7th place, Daniel Dye. 8th place, Willie Mullins. Tad Moffitt, 9th. Alan Lemke running at the top 10. Ron Vandermeer Jr., Alex Clubb, Bryce Hausberg, Brad Smith, Dick Doheny, Owen Smith, and Wayne Peterson were your final results. So after 9 races, the championship is in the hands of Corey Heim, but just by 7 points.
Yep.
Corey Heim has 447 points, while Ty Gibbs has 440 points. Tad Moffitt is third with 382 points. Fourth place, Nick Sanchez with 359 points, and Drew Dollar rounds out the top 5 with 280 points.
Which Drew Dollar is part-time. So,
yes.
But they're racing again on the 17th, which is this Saturday, at Berlin Raceway, another short track, which is going to
be the fan. We'll see. And how will it look? Because we are going into the end of the first half.
Yeah.
We might see something completely different going to the second half of the season.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's been all these two shows you how competitive this series has been for these two drivers. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the penultimate race of the Superstar Racing Experience. That was a very, very vibrant event, a colorful show of cars, and at Slinger Speedway. And like last week, not everybody was a happy camper leaving the Camping World SRX Series. I had to put the pun there somewhere. I really tried to hold off on that, but I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
All right, so here we are.
Yep.
With the Superstar Racing Experience of the inaugural season. And we're back here with the penultimate race of the season. And that went to Marco Andretti, the 2020 Indianapolis 500, Pulsar 2006 Indy 500 Rookie of the Year. and
Yeah.
grandson of Mario Andretti, one of the greatest race car drivers of all time.
Yep.
Marco Andretti, who won Heat 1, took the win over short track racing phenoms, just 17 years of age. He pulled an upset win at the Slinger Nationals last week, which gained him eligibility to join the SRX race. He was invited afterwards, and he almost won the race. In fact, the late race bout with Marco was just as good as it could get. And Marco proved everyone wrong that, yes, he can race well in a closed-wheel vehicle. And guess what? He is actually knocking on the door, believe it or not. Marco Andretti is knocking on the door for some NASCAR Xfinity teams. He wants to try NASCAR.
Yeah.
Maybe he's past due for it.
Yeah, like his Uncle John ran in NASCAR. Remember, John Andretti ran NASCAR races, if people remember.
Mario won the Daytona 500.
67, driving the number 11 entry, which was
on the movie 4.
Yeah, which actually Darrell Waltrip bought in the future, and he actually has the car.
Cool.
But it's because I watched NASCAR Man's History video about it. But yeah, like Marco trying those series, it's really But yeah, Luke Fenhouse got second.
Third place went to Tony Stewart, the championship leader. He has almost put the cherry on top of this championship season, which is put together by Tony Stewart. Fourth place went to Haley Deegan, who had an eventful race, and Bobby Labonte stayed out of trouble to finish fifth. Greg Biffle won Heat 2 and finished 8th. Paul Tracy. What else can I say about Paul Tracy? He ran into by 3 guys. He ran into someone else, and then Haley Deegan finished him at the second to last restart of the race. And I knew that was the straw that broke the camel's back for Paul Tracy. He could not stop posting about the whole Haley Deegan already made a vlog about Paul Tracy, which I'm still yet to watch. I can't wait to see it for myself.
But you know what's interesting about that race? Remember at the end of Heat 1, remember when Paul Tracy at the end of Heat 1 hit Ernie Francis Jr.?
Yeah, forgot about Ernie Francis Jr.
And he ended up blowing his tire in the turn 3 and 4. The restart's like, wow, that was smart.
That is funny stuff.
Yeah, hit the other driver. He blows his own tire in 3 and 4.
I love Paul Tracy. It's easy to hate Paul Tracy, but I love how entertaining his non-politically correct personality is. Yeah. Because it's just so fun and refreshing to watch how much he takes the SRX seriously.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just hasn't been his cup of tea apparently. But let's take a look at the point standings now. We have one more race left. Tony Stewart, like I said, is all but pretty much almost put the cherry on top by now. 199 points. Second place, Ernie Francis Jr., 161 points. Marco Andretti is third with 155 points. Bobby Labonte is fourth with 145 points. And fifth place is Elio Castro Neves with 140 points. Like I said, we'll be at Nashville Fairground Speedway this weekend to conclude the first ever running of the Superstar Racing Experience.
Yep.
Honestly, I love it. I love it. Yeah. Everything about it is just amazing.
Yep. The commentary is good. The coverage is good. The fun flags are the annoying thing right now that people don't like. Those fun flags, sometimes they just throw them out randomly.
Oh, yeah. I wish they could maybe let the race play out a little more than just throw cautions here and there.
Ian's not liking them at all.
If we could make it a little more integral, it would be fine. I think it's a small fix.
But it's been interesting. Stafford, the first race was interesting.
Stafford was fun. Knoxville.
Eldora.
IRP.
Now here at Slinger, and then we're at Nashville Fairgrounds. And do you know what's interesting? I was noticing of all the part-time drivers, do you know who was leading the part-time drivers in points? Doug Coby.
By one win.
Yeah, over Luke Fenhouse. Yeah, Doug Coby with that one win. Luke Fenhouse got a second in his only SRX appearance. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting next race at Nashville Fairgrounds. Hopefully the people don't complain or that person talking about F1.
Yeah, what was up with Karen trying to make an excuse saying, "Oh, we had F1. Remember F1? Nashville Street. They've never raced in Nashville. What are you talking about?"
I think
I mean, she must have been mistaken of IndyCar racing in the street course, and even then, that's a major miss and a major L. So I'm glad to see that. You know, I hope because of that lady, we'll see even more racing than already at the track. Just to piss her off. Don't move. For anyone out there that doesn't like noise, and I'm not one who likes loud noises either, but if you're like, 50, 60 years old and you're trying to buy a house, I'm not in real estate, but I just want to give you some more advice. Don't move to a house or to that's next to a racetrack and then complain about noise and try to get the racetrack undone or something.
No, the racetrack's been there for years and years and years.
Yes, the racetrack has outlived you, miss.
Yeah.
So, don't cry to town hall about it. And maybe because of people like her, I want to see a Cup race in Nashville. Maybe even more so. Let's get them out to 2022. Maybe we'll see what a 5-speed manual sequential transmission is going to look like in a Cup car at a short track. But let's continue on and move on. We got to have
these previews.
These race previews coming up here. We do have NASCAR back in the Garden State, New Hampshire.
Garden State? I thought it was Granite State.
The Granite State.
The Garden State's New Jersey.
I was close.
I was about to say New Jersey. Marchix Jr. would know, but it's going to be interesting. Yep, New Hampshire.
That was the Garden State. Round 22 to 36, we have the Xfinity Series. Round 19 to 33. The Cup Series will be the end of a long stretch of racing. If you include the All-Star race, they've been racing pretty much every week since Easter break.
Yeah.
And with the exclusion of the All-Star race, it's the end of a summer stretch. Round 19 to 33 for the Xfinity Series. These guys in the second series, they still have a long way to go before the playoffs. Just to get that out of the way. Formula One, round 10. The long-awaited British Grand Prix with the full capacity crowd.
And
the
and the sprint qualifying. Ooh.
And the long-awaited and controversial sprint qualifying format, where the top three get awarded championship points, world championship points.
That's going to be interesting.
And we'll see what happens there. How that's going to affect the style of racing and the championship leader, Max Verstappen and Red Bull Racing Honda.
And
Formula 2 is back to complete the first half of the season for Week 4 at Silverstone Circuit.
Yep.
Supercars, the Townsville Super Sprint, Week 7 to 12 to begin the second half of their campaign for rounds 17, 18, and 19 of their 31-race tour. Can Triple Eight and Shane Van Gisbergen be stopped this time around with different ways of racing with the Super Sprint format?
I don't know.
We'll talk about sports car racing. We have the final race of the World Endurance Championship in the pre-Le Mans portion. Final race in the first half. Yep. 6 hours of Monza to close a 2-week tenure of endurance racing at the circuit. And we do have the first race in the second half, the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship for the GT exclusive Northeast Grand Prix at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut, around 7 to 12. We'll continue on the sports car discussion. That's for sure. I do need the entry list of that. But let's talk about.
Okay, so there's the WGC. Let me go
the Cup Series. Let's get to the Cup Series. First of all, let me pull that up. So the New Hampshire 301 for round number 22. Brad Keselowski picked up the win last year. A dominating race, and we didn't know where he was going then, but then he announced the contract extension afterwards. Rusty Wallace, ironically, driving for the same team that Brad did to win last year. Team Penske's Rusty Wallace won the first race in 1993. Most wins. Kevin Harvick has a chance to break Jeff Burton's record of 4 wins and get his 5th. So Harvick and Burton, 4 wins each. Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch, 3 wins, along with Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman, and Tony Stewart. And 3 drivers with 2 wins, Clint Boyer, Brad Keselowski, and Joey Logano. So those are numbers with drivers. Now, as for the summer race is concerned for New Hampshire, in terms of team wins, Joe Gibbs Racing leads that with 7 wins. Hendrick Motorsports, 5 wins. Roush Fenway Racing and Team Penske share 4 wins each. Stewart Haas Racing, 3 wins. And Robert Yates Racing, 2 wins. As for the summer race in New Hampshire is concerned, I have to turn off my camera because of low quality. Justin, you might want to do the same because I'm on one bar. But as for the summer races concerned in New Hampshire, in terms of manufacturer wins, Ford leads this one over Chevrolet. 11 wins for Ford, Chevrolet with 8, Toyota with 5, Dodge and Pontiac 2. So there are all your numbers you need to know. And since 2018, New Hampshire has been making only the summer appearance in the season. So less knowledge, but still we have to look at all the data. This is a driver's racetrack. I always say that about Richmond and even Dover to an extent, but this is a driver's racetrack. A driver's racetrack will typically favor the veterans more. So Justin, with that said, how could we assess this race weekend? Where are the favorites? Where aren't the favorites? Who's going to come out on top? We have, 5 races left in the regular season?
Okay. My pick, this driver, of all the current active drivers, he has the most wins. This guy's stats, I'll tell you his stats. In 37 starts at New Hampshire, he has 4 wins, 13 top 5s, 21 top 10s, 20 top 20s, 28 top 20s, 765 laps led. Average start, his best finish is first. His lowest finish, 36. He has a DNF. His average start's 12.8. Average finish at 12.59. He has no wins this season. Driver of the number 4 for Stewart-Haas Racing, Kevin Harvick finally gets his first win of the season and wins at New Hampshire.
I was on that same boat. He doesn't like lobster. That's the trophy, by the way, they hand out to you. It's the trophy and a lobster.
Yeah, he actually
freaked him out.
Wow, he's going
to get freaked out once more and become the 3rd driver to be part of the 4 Winners Club at this track. Denny Hamlin. He's been so good this year, but there's still 0 on the wins column. That's going to change at some point, and it might just be here. The same could be said about 2017. Remember Hamlin entering this very same event, the summer race at New Hampshire in 2017, knocking on the door time after time for that first win. It happened to happen at New Hampshire. So I think history is a kind of repeat itself. And remember, I forgot when he got a second win in New Hampshire, but 2007, he had that nice battle with Jeff Gordon. I'll never forget that. But so yeah, I'm going with Hamlin. You're going with Harvick. We're going with the veterans.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the Xfinity Series and talk about the upcoming race. A race that hasn't been ran actually since 2019, the New Hampshire 200. Last was held for this. Okay, this is 19th round of the season. Last race here was 2019. Christopher Bell, the winner. Tommy Ellis won the first race in 1990. In fact, here's a really fun fact about this race. Amongst the top 3 NASCAR series, New Hampshire's Xfinity race has the most amount of races, different winners, until Kyle Busch became a repeat winner in, I believe it was 2009 or 10. Kyle Busch has the most wins at 6. Brett Keselowski, 2 wins. Christopher Bell, 2 wins. Bell's going to be racing to go for 3 in a row, something that's never been done in New Hampshire, I don't think. Most team wins. Joe Gibbs Racing with 10. Team Penske and CC Rivalry Racing, 2 wins. Most make wins, Toyota leads this with 10 wins, and all of them were with Joe Gibbs Racing, mind you. Chevrolet and Ford tie with 8 wins. 3 wins from Pontiac, 2 wins from Buick, 1 win from Dodge and Oldsmobile.
Huh.
So let's talk a little. Let's kind of discuss this thing.
Okay, I got my pick.
Sure.
Okay, this driver in 2 starts. His starts are impressive. In 2 races, he has 2 wins, 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, 2 top 20s, 279 laps led, average start of 2.
And we lost Justin. Just like that. He was giving up the build-up. The build-up of Christopher Bell winning this race.
Yeah, my computer decided to exit out of
Your computer wouldn't let you inform us about Christopher Bell winning this race.
Yeah, he has an average finisher first. And he's going to continue an average finisher first. Because
For this race, I have AJ Allmendinger taking the win.
Okay.
AJ is going to... This is the kind of track that suits him well. Heavy braking corners. I mean, it's like a little bit more of a straightaway and then a long hairpin and a long hairpin. It's like the opposite of Parabellum Monza, but better groups and all that stuff. So it's going to be fun to watch. I can't wait to see what happens. And I hope Daniel Hemrick will be a factor to win. He's knocking on the door as well. Let's talk some F1. Let's move in to the Formula One side of the world and discuss the British Grand Prix. For many teams and drivers, this is and especially English-speaking press workers, this is their home.
Yep.
This is their home Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix. A historic event. In fact, it's the site of the first ever World Championship race in 1950.
Yep.
Last year, who else than Lewis Hamilton getting the win in front of a very silent crowd? That's something you never see. Just felt eerie.
Well,
COVID happened.
But you remember what happened in that race?
Yes, he won it on three wheels. Thanks for reminding me. I forgot.
Yeah, his left front punctured, and he won with 3 on 3 and 1 with that left front puncture, which that was impressive.
Yep. First race was the very first race in Formula One, 1951, by the late Giuseppe Farina. Rest of us wins here. Well, Lewis Hamilton, 7. It's his home. It's his playground.
Yep.
It's where he grew up racing. It's where he became successful and translated that. He's all 4 Beatles combined in Formula One. Jim Clark, Alain Prost share 5 wins. Nigel Mansell, 4 wins. Jack Brabham, Niki Lauda, Michael Schumacher, 3 wins. Alberto Ascari, Jose Furlan Gonzalez, Sterling Moss, Jackie Stewart, Emerson Fittipaldi, Jacques Villeneuve, David Coulthard, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel, Mark Webber, 2-time winners of the British Grand Prix. Now, constructor wins, it is under the Italian banner for most constructor wins. Of course, that's Ferrari, 16 wins. McLaren, 14 wins, the highest British constructor. Then Williams, 10 wins. Lotus, 8 wins. Mercedes, 8 wins. Red Bull, 3 wins. Cooper, 2 wins, as well as Tyrrell and Renault.
Tyrrell, I thought it was Tyrrell. Yeah. British Grand Prix. That's going to be interesting. With the new sprint qualifying format, people forgot about that.
Yeah. All right, I want to make something a little unique for this one. Since we only have a few sprint qualifying races here, starting with this one and 2 other unannounced races. I think they're going up to 3.
Yeah, they're doing. Yep.
Right, it was supposed to be Canada, but then it didn't happen. So they put it to here. Okay. Predict your sprint qualifying top 3 that will receive points. Now, how does that work? First of all, how many points do you get for finishing in the top 3? It's just 3, 2, 1 from first, second, and third.
Yep.
Could this be a big impact in the World Championship? I think it very well could be.
But
every point counts. But we'll see.
Remember, to determine the starting lineup for the sprint qualifying is the qualifying session. They have a qualifying session to determine the sprint qualifying starting order, and the results of the sprint qualifying. Those results are for the starting lineup for Sunday's Grand Prix. Yeah, it's interesting. For me, do you want to know who my top 3 is?
Let's hear
it. Sir Lewis Hamilton first, Valtteri Bottas second, and Max Verstappen third. That's reality. But I feel like Mercedes is they're better at this track. They said they'll have upgrades.
They're very well. They're good. They have something new coming right.
Yeah, but they're going to have upgrades. They're not Ferrari when they said they have upgrades, which No, they didn't have.
No, reality, they had downgrades. Like Maple Leafs right now, they're saying they're having a bunch of upgrades for the off season, and
Oh yeah,
and
totally.
look how that's going. No, it's not going well, isn't it?
But yeah, so that's Mercedes, and Red Bull. Yep, that's my top
All
three.
right, this one would be a popular one, but
Oh,
I think
jeez.
we're going to see Lewis Hamilton win the sprint qualifying race.
Okay.
Second place will go to Max Verstappen. Third place, Lando Norris will get that final point.
Huh?
Yeah, that's right. He's
Well,
grown up here and raced here just as much as Lewis Hamilton.
yeah, but you talk about McLaren. Mercedes is just
McLaren,
better.
this is their home. This is where they test.
Yeah, but the thing is, Mercedes.
I'm not going to rule him out.
Yeah, but what about
It's gonna be fun. I don't know.
But Valtteri Bottas is actually this is one of his better tracks. But
that too.
yeah, Valtteri Bottas is one of his best tracks is not Why was I going to say Monza? Not Monaco either. Not
You're
Monza.
not there yet.
No, Silverstone. At least I didn't say Singapore like Joseph did for IndyCar that one time.
All right, but we will be racing in St. Petersburg in Formula 1 too, so I'll be back to that problem. All right. St. Petersburg, Russia, that is. Mother Russia.
What?
Okay.
They're not going to race there.
Well, in 3 years. Remember this? The race at Sochi is moving to St. Petersburg.
What?
Building a track in St. Petersburg, Russia.
Yeah,
that was announced 2 weeks ago. Yeah, do your research, you'll find it.
Yeah, but do you think?
Motorsport.com.
Yeah, but do you think that's gonna last or not? Probably one race.
I don't know. It looks less tilky. It looks more like Sochi still it's like a street circuit, anyways.
Well, Sochi, it's Mercedes' playground. Like,
God.
But what about Joseph? What about the main race? We got a race too.
Yes, the British Grand Prix itself on Sunday. Who will win that event?
Who will
the British Grand Prix?
Double for Lewis Hamilton. He's going to get our win and close on Max and the points. Yep. Lewis Hamilton winning again. Getting an 8th British Grand Prix win. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Lewis Hamilton. Because I just feel like he's too good here. Well, Max Verstappen won what was called the 70th anniversary Grand Prix last year. It was a lot of circumstances where he just cheesed the pit system.
Yeah, but on speed, the Mercedes has been good. And Lewis, you talk about Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone. He's just good here. Yep. Okay, so...
All right, and let's talk some Formula 2.
Yep.
Before we go into sports car, we'll talk F2 to see how the scope of the first half will look like when it concludes. All right. So sprint race 1, sprint race 2, feature race. Who's going to come out on top?
Okay. For me, like, what do you mean by come on top? Do you mean like average or something?
Yeah, he's best average finish. He's going to have the best average finish of the race weekend.
I have Guan Yu Zhou the points leader because Guan Yu Zhou's just been strong this season. He's showing his speed in his
Josie car.
Yep, he's been strong this season. I feel like he's going to be coming on strong and still doing good. So yeah, I have him.
All right, I think that in this case, we're going to have Oscar Piastri.
Okay.
Show how it's done. He's pretty good on these closed circuits, it seems.
Yeah.
And
going for a good team, Prema.
Yeah. Prema will be definitely on top of the world. I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a clash between a lot of drivers and teams. You better be good on every side of the scope here. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's talk endurance racing. Let's just get the quick one out of the way. The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship Northeast Grand Prix at Lime Rock Park, round 7 to 12. It will start the second half of the season. And let's pull up the entry list. Only the GT classes will be in the event. So This will count, of course, the GTD in the not the endurance, the Sprint Cup.
I was about to say, I don't know how that's an endurance race.
Oh, all right. So there's 3 cars from the GTLM class, which will likely go for the overall win. Hey, it's unlike it. I mean, there's only 3 cars, and we've seen 3 cars in any given race have problems at the same time in the same race. So we'll have a little bet at the end. But who's going to win the class? And I'm saying the class because there's only 3 of them.
I say the number 3 Corvette racing entry because the 3 Corvettes. Oh, the 3 Corvettes just been dominating.
Antonio Garcia, Jordan Taylor, of course they will.
Yeah. Who's your pick, Joseph?
I'm going the 3, Antonio Garcia, Jordan Taylor, because I'm going to leave that more important question at the end. There's 14 GTD class entries, which they run the FIA GT3 standards, unlike the LMGTE cars in the GTLM class. 14 of them, plus 3, we get 17 total overall. So who's going to win the GTD class?
I have the number 9 Pfaff Motorsports entry, driven by Zachary Robichon and
Lawrence Vantor, a factory Porsche driver.
Yep, that's my pick. Yeah.
All right, my pick for this class will be the number 14, Master Sullivan, Lexus RCF GT3, Aaron Telitz, Jack Hawksworth. They're on a roll.
Okay.
Should be fun. Should be great. We'll see what happens. And now the last question. What class will be the overall winner? Because there's 3 cars in GTLM. And it's never impossible in 2 hours and 40 minutes to see all 3 cars have problems.
Well, I think it's going to be GTLM. Will be better.
I think so too.
Yeah, because they're just good. Yeah, they're just better right now. So I feel like they're going to be the highest in the class.
I think GTLM as well. But it's not impossible for a GT car to win. Like I said, all it takes is something like an incident to happen with the 2 GTLMs, or all happen in like separate occasions. That's it. And if they all aim to finish on the same lap in the top 3 in class and overall, we'll see how many laps it takes to put the GT3's lap down. It should be fun. All right, let's move on into the final race of the pre-24 Hours of Le Mans portion of the FIA World Endurance Championship.
Yep, the 6 hours of Monza.
6 hours of Monza. This will also close the first half of the season. And I'll pull up that entry list as well. So overall, we have a car count of 37 cars. Let's start with the top overall class, and I don't think we're going to have to question seeing that the hypercars are going to win overall. I feel like that's a given.
Yeah. Okay, I got my pick. My pick is the number 7 Toyota Gazoo Racing Toyota GR10 Hybrid, driven by Mike Conway, Kamui Kobayashi, and Jose Maria Lopez. I'm
going to go with number 8, Toyota Gazoo Racing Toyota GR010 Hybrid, Sebastian Buemi, Kazuki Nakajima, Brendan Hartley is going to be between those 2 Toyotas.
Okay.
The cars I want to watch, and this is the last big test for the hypercar teams and the new configurations before the 24 Hours of Le Mans hits reality. I'm going to watch very closely on those 2 Glickenhaus cars. We're going to see both of them share the track at the same time. How does that affect their quality of racing? Will Alpine need a second car in the foreseeable future to compete with the top teams? We'll see what happens. I can't wait to watch an American team compete for overall Le Mans glory. So I want to see Glickenhaus do well. Out of a personal bias, I'm pulling for them to the fullest extent.
Okay.
Now, LMP2.
Okay.
LMP2, and there will be a Pro-Am trophy along with it. But who's going to win the LMP2 class outright?
I got the number 82, Risi Competizione, Oreca 07 Gibson, driven by Ryan Cullen, Oliver Jarvis, and Felipe Nasser.
Sounds like a winning pair to me.
Yeah, that's not a Pro-Am. So I'm gonna pick
Right.
a pro-am. My pick for the pro-am is the number 29 Racing Team Netherlands entry driven by Fritz Vanner, Guido Vandergaard, and Nick De Vries. I know it says Job Van Utrecht, but tested
That is an
positive for COVID. Yeah, but so Nick De Vries is in that 29. So yeah, my pro-am pick is the 29, but my overall pick, the number 82. Yeah.
My pick for the LMP2 class will go to the number 34 Inter-Europol competition, Orca 07 Gibson with Jakob Smichkowski, Ragnar van der Zand, and Alex Brundle.
Who's your
I feel
pro-am?
like my pro-am, since I didn't pick a pro-am in the outright predictions, I will go with the number 70 Real Team Racing, Orca 07 Gibson with Esteban Garcia, Loic Duval, and Norman Nato.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Okay.
GT Pro.
Okay.
Only 4 cars in this class between 2 Ferraris and 2 Porsches. Who will come out on top? Should we take notes from what happened yesterday?
Well, my pick is the number 91 Porsche GT Porsche, driven by Italian driver Gianmaria Bruni and Austrian driver Richard Leeds. Bruni, he's good in this Porsche. I feel like it's a 91.
And he grew up racing around there anyway, so.
Yep. What's your pick?
All right. Just look at last week. Who dominated the ELMS?
Ferrari.
Top 5 in class. Ferrari.
Yeah.
And
Which
I'm sticking
one?
to it this time.
There's 2 of them.
I'm going with the number 52 AF Corsa Ferrari 488 GTE Evo.
Okay.
Daniel Serra and Miguel Molina.
Okay.
All right, and now let's talk about the GT AM class that consists of 16 cars in there that make up this 37 car count. Right, who you got?
Okay, I got my pick. My pick is the number 54 AF Corsa Ferrari 488 GTE Evo, driven by Thomas Floor, Francesco Castellesi, and Giancarlo Fisichella. 2 Italians in there, so I feel like they're going to win in that number 54 entry.
Yeah. I actually believe that this class we're going to have a Porsche do very successful here. And it's actually going to be number 46 Team Project 1 Porsche 911 RSR 19 with Dennis Olsen, Anders Burkhardt, and Axel Jeffries, who's been actually back and forth with Lamborghini and Porsche this year.
Yeah.
Axel Jeffries was part of the Dubai 24-hour winning lineup. We know Dennis Olsen's been a long-time Porsche driver under the factory banner. And there's going to be a lot of proving grounds out there. So we'll see how this race turns out. It will be very eventful to watch. That's for sure. All right. So I think this marks the end of the podcast. We covered everything.
Did you cover supercars?
Oh, yes. Supercars.
Yeah, that's the last thing. Yeah, that was the last
Townsville Super Sprint.
Yeah.
And I know I missed that too because it was an impromptu race weekend. All right, race 1, race 2, race 3 is going to come out with the best average finish.
SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen.
Give me my prediction.
I knew.
Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, he's just been dominating this season. He's been really good. Yeah, he's been really good this season. Yeah. Yeah, so now we covered everything. So, yeah, check out all the races this weekend. WEC, IMSA, ARCA.
I have SVG as well.
Just watch the races if you want. It's going to be interesting watching all the races this weekend. It's going to be an awesome weekend of motorsports.
Oh, yeah, just like last weekend was. It only gets better. This is the best time of the year to be a race fan. So.
Yeah, but then next week...
I think it's going to be... Yeah, Justin?
Starting next week, there's not going to be too many motorsports because NASCAR's on break, WEC's on break, IMSA's on break. Yeah.
Right, and you know what? I think, with the exception of IMSA having one more race after Lime Rock before Le Mans,
yeah,
I feel like all these, like the majority of the sports car teams are really getting ready for 2 things: the Spa 24 Hours and then before you know it, the 24 hours of Le Mans.
Yeah, Le Mans is gonna be so interesting.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have 50,000 people there. It's gonna feel like normal again.
Yeah, except it's in August.
It's
But-
August, and we
But
made sure to have it work like this, so
yeah,
people can come from
Yep.
everywhere.
yep.
All right, well, time to end this podcast.
Yeah, because I gotta take a shower and go to bed because I work tomorrow morning. So yeah,
Yep. And well, there's a home run derby on TV for the MLB All-Star Game weekend, which is fun. It's
Yep.
always my favorite part of baseball. I mean, I love watching home runs, but
Yeah.
now I made sure we hit 2 hours, so we now surpassed 2 hours.
Yep.
All right. So thank you very much for watching. For my partners Daniel Ford and Justin Heber, I am Joseph Laney Pavlon. Sorry we could not have the cameras on. We had poor connection towards the end.
Maybe
Thank
next.
you guys so much for watching. Maybe next week we'll cooperate.
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching Millennial Line Podcast, and we'll be back for episode 120 next weekend. So long. Have a good night.
Yeah.